Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching today. Today is Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. And today's topic, because it's on everybody's mind or most agents' mind, about the future of buyer's agents and buyer's agents commissions coming up. So to all agents out there, to anybody watching this video, first disclaimer, any type of percentage or amount I might come out of my mouth is just for example purposes only. It's not, as a broker and owner, not saying what to charge people, what you get to charge people, what you can, what can't charge people, or for your services as a realtor. So any public, the people of the community watching this video. But I will say, one sec. There we go. Okay, just making sure my volume's up there. There we go. There we go. All right. So the thing to remember as agents is that you, as a buyer's, I'm going to stick with buyer's agents today. You have a service to offer buyers representation, looking out for their best interest, your expertise, your time and efforts that you're going to put into a buyer. Now, we have anybody who's been in real estate for more than anybody that's been in real estate for even a few days that has worked with a buyer knows the time, the expense, the sacrifice you put into working with a buyer. So I will go down, a quick few stories of buyers agents, just so we have some context, because I try to do my best as a broker and have been experienced for over 30 years, explain to our agents and train our agents or any agents, because I talk to agents from all across the country. I talk to agents all across our community, many different companies. I don't discriminate. If someone wants information from me and I have the time, I will give you my experience and my teaching. But this is one thing that I'm really pushing forward, especially with the lawsuits that have been happening with real estate and things that we're going to do to correct that or settle that, is that we got to understand and explain to sellers that Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I use that a lot, could be Mr. Seller, could be Mrs. Seller, could be company, could be anything, but I use that term, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You are compensating buyers agents not to just sell your house. You're not compensating, because to a seller, when you have three buyers agents coming in, bringing three different offers to them, sometimes they're just thinking the same thing. We just met you. You just showed my house once. You're writing an offer. You are all equal to me as a seller. Yes, but they're not equal to the buyer. They're not equal to the buyer, because this is very important. Why we have to start telling this to sellers is we have to give them examples of what it is. All three of these buyers agents, a little role playing out, talking to my seller, all three of these buyers agents coming in might be coming in asking for a different commission amount to pay them, because their buyers will be requesting to be paid. And that seller is going to go, why would I pay these three buyers agents different commissions for selling my house? Let me give you examples, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, of why you may see. And I know it's going to be a longer video because I need to really hit this point across. Let me give you an example. This buyer's agent one, I talked to this buyer's agent. They got this lead off of Zillow last night. They showed the property this morning. They have about 2 hours worth of work in there, and they're for their services. Their buyer wants them compensated this. The second agent number two, is a buyer, is an agent, and the buyer is their brother or sister. they are bringing them in, and their buyer and sister, they have their buyer agreement, and this is what that buyer's agent is asking you to compensate their agent this amount. Agent three, this buyer's agent, I talked to this buyer's agent, they told me that this is a buyer they've been working for over a year. That your house is the 200th house they showed you. Congratulations, you won 200th house. This is the 20th offer they have, and they've been losing out on multiple offers, and they really need a house. And the buyer's agent has worked with them for, they lost track and of how many hours they've lost track of how many hours they've had. This agent has missed their kids' birthday parties and baseball games because they're jumping out into their car in the middle of a kid's soccer game because a new listing came on at the end of the day, and they want to get in there, and they just dropping everything. And whatever commission you pay them, if this agent divided it up by hour, it's less than minimum wage. So this buyer wants you to compensate their agent this amount because of what they're. So the point I'm getting, we got to explain to our sellers, you're not paying the agent, the buyer's agent, for their selling your house. The buyers are asking you to pay their agent for the job they have done for that buyer to get them to the point of getting them into your house. So that is so crucial, I feel, for us as realtors, as a community, explain to sellers that of this, and why the whole point of this videotape, why I think that's so important, because the great news is, I'm so excited about this, and I've been telling agents that is that we as buyers agents get to have a conversation, or are required to have a conversation. Now, required because we should have been doing this all along. We as buyers agents, a lot of buyers agents have been just letting the listing agent and the seller decide what they're worth before they even get to their house. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Hey, I'm the seller, I'm the listing agent. We're offering all buyers agents X amount of commission, thinking that you're all equal. That's not fair. That's never been fair. I mean, I think you think that's fair. I've been in real estate 30 years. I don't think that's fair at all. And then agents were getting different kinds of compensation from different listing agents, different sellers, and they have no clue the amount of time and effort that buyer's agent has taken with that buyer to get them to the thing. There's agents that spend years with buyers to get their in communication with them, help them get their credit in order, watch over their savings, and cultivate them for years to help them make decisions before they buy a house. And I know a lot of you are going, yes, I've done that. And guess what you get to do now? And I'm going to throw out some numbers. You get to sit with a buyer now. You should be doing this before, but now you get to sit with the buyer now and required to get a buyer agreement. I'm not going to go into the legalities of buyer agency agreement or just buyer agreement, but you get to sit down and have to discuss with that buyer how much you are worth, how much your services, what you are going to charge for your services before we start looking for that first home. That is so good. It's just like a listing presentation, but a buyer presentation. And that's when it clicks for agents, because some agents, I've been going down the list of all of our agents. I've talked to so many agents all day long, every day, every half hour, on the half hour, I'm on the phone with an agent till like 10 o'clock at night, explaining this and preparing of how good this is, that you get to decide with that buyer before they go look at the house what you are going to charge. What is your worth? So hypothetically, I'm throwing out numbers. You say, I don't have much time in this. It's 1% or a flat fee. You get to decide, hey, I've been cultivating you and helping you and connecting you with credit repair people and helping you this and helping you with that. Before you put in hours and hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and months and follow up of all this, I thrown out a number, just out of example, I want 4% for all of what I've done and what I'm about to do for you. I'm going to continue to show you house after house after house whenever, as long as you need to. I'm going to jump out of my whatever I'm in. If it's 6 o'clock at night and a new listing pops up and we need to go see it ASAP because you're free this day, not free that day, I'm going to jump in my car and leave my kid's soccer game. I'm going to do all this for you. This is what I charge. Now, some agents are getting very nervous about having that conversation with buyers. But when you have that conversation with a buyer, say, this is my fee. I'm an independent contractor. I'm an agent. This is what I charge for my services, just like a listing agent would do when they go on a listing point. This is all the things I'm going to do for you. This is what I charge. And this is what, and then you want to interview other agents, this is what they charge. And you now, buyers, get to decide how you're going to be compensated. So this is the next key. So many buyers agents have been thinking, or the industry or some people or the media thinks that buyers agents have to pay their agent. I say no. The buyers, this is, again, I'm going to use the word, this is the key thing. It should have changed. The verbiage should change. And I want to change it today. The buyer's responsible for making sure you get paid. Not that they have to pay. You and the buyer, time of signing the agreement, are now the buyer. It's in the buyer's hand. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you now get to decide, this is how much I want to be compensated for all the things that I do as you as a buyer's agent. Now, next step, we get to decide, you get to decide how you think I should be compensated. Who should pay me? Mr. and Mr. Buyer, do you want to pay me? That's fine. At closing, you pay me. Do you want to be up in the air? Do you want to split it between the seller and buyer and seller? We'll negotiate that with the contract, or you want to put in the buyer agreement that you don't have that extra money. You don't have to write this in there exactly like this, but I'm just giving options and opinions. Is that write something into the buyer agreement that says buyer requests agent to ask seller to compensate you for your services and your payment on all transactions, and we have some type of verbiage in there. If you're Century 21 agent, we're going to have the verbiage in there for you already. But any agent outside there, talk to your broker, managers, or company, and maybe they'll have something like this in there. Is that the buyer is putting in the buyer agreement that they don't want to buy a house and have to pay you out of their pocket. They want to make sure when they buy a house that the seller pays for you, because they need that. Very similar to if you have a buyer that gets pre-approved and they're putting minimal down, they have minimal assets and minimal money. And then we've seen this happen many times. The lender comes, hey, they pre-approved, but they need seller concessions, this X amount, or they can't have the loan because they have limited funds. Very similar, very similar. Buyers are going to come to you and say, hey, I want your services, but I have limited funds, so I need to find a house where we can negotiate the seller contributes to your services. No problem. Then before you even go to see a house, you have a contract. You have a commitment from the buyer that you're going to get compensated a certain amount for your services, and we're going to include it and ask the seller to do that. Will all sellers do that? Maybe not. That's under negotiation. That's part of the negotiation. But next step, and again, sorry, it's going to be a long video, is I'm training and trying to push for our listing agents to explain to sellers this before at the listing agreement that, listen, we're going to get buyer's offers. Their commissions are going to be, they might ask for a commission, they might not ask for a commission, they might ask for a lot and a little. I can't guarantee you what buyers are going to ask you to pay. So don't promise them. Please don't promise them. This is my personal, but please, listing agents, one, don't promise sellers exactly what they're going to pay at time of listing, because you don't know. It might be a VA buyer. They have to, everything's got to be paid there. Their buyer's agent might ask for this. Their buyer's agent might ask for that. It could be all different. I really think, my opinion is, it's unethical, unprofessional for any listing agent when these changes are made to tell a seller, you are guaranteed you will pay a buyer's agent this or that, but because it's all up for negotiation. Next, I want to train our buyer or listing agents and suggest you have a conversation with buyer's agents when these offers come in and find out, one, when the buyer's agent brings in an offer with a commission being paid to the buyer's agent, ask the buyer's agent, is that negotiable? What I mean by that, they all should have a contract and it should be non-negotiable. What I mean, reverse, I'm a buyer's agent talking to the listing agent. Listing agent, I have this great buyer, a little history about them. Just want to let you know my commission that they're asking the seller to pay is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. We have a contract, I have a buyer agreement, up to the buyer to allow this. I'm happy to show it with you. Buyer has asked me, and we're under contract to make sure a seller compensates me. So if you change that commission on this offer, the deal's not going to go a step further. It's non-negotiable. So to listing agents, when these changes are made and buyer's agents come up to you and go, hey, it's non-negotiable, please explain to your seller why it might be non-negotiable. They have a contract already. That contract is already in place with the buyer, which is great. That's why I love these buyer contracts. You as a buyer's agent and buyer already have a contract before this listing even came to terms. Hopefully, maybe you showed them houses before this listing even came in. So this buyer, this is their offer, and the commission is non-negotiable because they already have an agreement over here. So you have I use this term lightly to buyer's agent. You as a buyer's agent have an agreement. You have an ironclad agreement already. You're going to get compensated this. You had that agreement with your buyer. The buyer's job and the buyer's duty in that agreement is to make sure you get compensated that. Now, of course, seller agents go to me, well, what happens if the seller won't pay it? What happens? What happens? Well, then you got to go back to the buyer and have a conversation with them. And if I was that buyer, I said, no, absolutely not. I don't want to come up with that extra money. I don't have that extra money. I wanted your services. I want the seller to compensate you. And they push it back on the seller. That's it. It's just going to be a negotiation. I really don't feel this buyer's agents are going to make less money. Another thing, and concerned buyer's agents have had with this. And I'll give you, because I have the experience of having hundreds and hundreds of agents and buyer's agents selling houses, multiple offer situations. Some agents think that this is going to be affected by multiple offers, and this will hurt multiple offer situation. I will tell you, absolutely, it will not affect multiple offer situations because commissions to buyer's agents have already been negotiable all along. Did you hear what I said? To anybody out there that thinks that their offer, a new offer with a buyer's agent and buyer asking for the seller to contribute commissions in a multiple offer situation will negatively affect that offer. Pay attention to what I'm saying. Pay attention. The buyer's commission all along, buyer's agent commission has been negotiable in multiple offer situations already. I'll give you the example of what's been happening in multiple offer situations. I've had agents call me, hey, Tony, I'm buying this house for myself personally. It's a multiple offer situation. Can I negotiate my buyer's agent's commission to help me get this house? Yes. Already's happening. 2, hey, Tony, I'm a buyer's agent. I'm working with my cousin, my brother, my sister, and we've been missing out on houses. And when we go in on this multiple option, can I negotiate lower buyer's agent's commission to make this deal happen? Yes. Hey, Tony, I have a buyer. They want this house. There's money. The buyer wants to pay me directly, and and tell the seller they could earn less commission, don't have to pay me. My buyers wants to pay me, and tell the listing agent, hey, cut out my commission over here because the buyer is choosing to pay me directly to get this deal done. Can I do that? Yes. That's been happening all along. It's been happening all along. And the agents that didn't know that, which is most agents, because they thought that the commission in the MLS was non-negotiable. Did you know that the commission in the MLS has been negotiable all along? Any buyer's agent could have had an agreement with their buyer, and if you did not have to accept what's in the MLS, you could have asked for more. You could have asked for less. You could have taken exactly what they're offering, which most agents did because we just did. So now it's 100% transparent now, which wasn't transparent. It was already there. We could negotiate the buyer's commission, agent's commission all along. I've had agents say, hey, for years, saying, hey, Tony, we're $1,000 apart on this deal. Can I give up 500 of my commission on the buyer side? Seller agent give up $500 to give the seller that extra $1,000 so we could get deals happen? Yes. So, and I'm sorry, again, long video, but I want to make this point across because I'm so excited that we finally got this approved for the buyer side of commission, that we're all on the same page. We have to have this conversation with buyers before how we get compensated, before we even show houses. And you get to choose what that is and have a buyer that's going to back you up and make sure you get compensated that somehow. That's the thing. Somehow, seller, buyer, combination of both, whoever. But you'll get compensated that. And before, so many agents, almost every buyer's agent is like, oh, whatever's in the MLS, I hope they compensate me something. I'll show buyers houses for now until they find a house. It could be 2 years from now, and maybe 2 years from now, if I didn't have a buyer agreement, all of a sudden they find a house and they're offering a flat fee, and now I made 2 cents on every hour I put into this. So that's the good part. So I wanted to explain to you, this is not a bad time for buyers agents. It's such a good time. And we were going to see, and okay, hopefully this doesn't, I'm just saying my opinions before I get just crucified for this in real estate. I have a feeling, honestly, that average commissions are going up, not down. Yep, I said it. And I won't say an amount. Up, not down. Give you an example. We've been bundling our services. Hey, seller, when we sit down, we're going to pay me this, you this, all of this. We're going to bundle it up together. When you bundle it all up, we're paying buyer's agent, we're paying seller's agents. We're going to discuss all the money you're going to pay seller right now before we even list the house. It's kind of like this. Like I booked a plane ticket the other day for a vacation. And the plane ticket is like, if you book right now, when you buy your ticket, I'm just using an example. I don't know exactly what it was, but if you get booked now, it's $99, and you could get a carry-on, you could get a checked bag and priority seating. $99 now, because afterwards it's going to be more. And you're like, hey, I'm just going to have a carry-on. And so I'm just going to take the $75, $25 less to save $25 to get a carry-on. That's it. Then when I'm right before my trip, I'm packing my bag, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need more on there. And oh my gosh, I'm running late. And I want priority boarding because I just don't want to, if you get in, I know from flying often, if you get there late and you're one of the last people in, good luck getting your carry-on in an overhead compartment, right? And you're like, I'm running late, I'm not going to be first in line, I need to make sure I have priority boarding. So then you say, then you go, oh, okay, I got to buy now the carry-on or the check bag. That's $50. So right there. So I paid 75. Now I'm paying 50. And then I need 25 for priority boarding. So I went from $99 to $75 to $50 to $25. That's $150 when I could have got it for $99. That is what's going to happen with a lot of sellers. The listing agent is going to say, hey, you just have to pay me this. Run bundling, just pay me this. And then you're going to leave it up and see what buyer's agent. And then buyer's agents come in, and then one buyer's agent comes in with the best offer and the highest commission paid to that buyer's agent, but the seller gets to choose it. And now that total commission is more than what they traditionally have been paying. And guess what? That seller is going to be extremely happy. You know why? Because they had a choice. They had a choice. That buyer is extremely happy because we had a conversation with them at the beginning. And I bet a couple of years from now, if average commissions average commissions have gone up that sellers have been paying, several years from now, they're going to go, oh my gosh, years ago, the sellers used to average X amount for selling their house. Now they're averaging this because we unbundled it. The listing agent gets to choose what they get paid, and the buyer's agent gets to choose what they get to paid. And the seller has a choice, but at the time of offer, and then that ends up paying more than what they traditionally did because we unbundled it. So that's a good thing for us as agents. Not that I'm not talking in amounts, I'm talking you as buyer's agent, back to the buyer's agent, get to choose what you're paid for all of your service and expertise and guidance you have with a buyer. And you all have different words, just like listing agents out there. I'll charge a little bit different. I'm not, good. I'm not coming up with an amount. But you as an independent contract agent, what do you bring to the table? Are you just open doors for people and you don't give them any guidance? Are you someone that is not just open doors for people, that you'll work with people for a year, 2 years, as long as they find a house, you're going to work with them? Great. But you get to decide that now. How great is that? How comfortable are you? Just like a listing agent. Listing agent lists a house. Oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? Comfortable they are. I got a listing. Great. Nice. I get the compensation's already on there. I'm going to get paid this when it's signed, when it closes, I'm going to get paid this. And they're never worried about their compensation. Now, imagine this as a buyer's agent, you're going to do the same thing. Like a listing, you're going to have an agreement with someone, what you're going to get compensated. And before you walk out of the house for the first time and show them a house, you don't know how long that journey is going to be, but you know how much you're going to get compensated. That is so good. This is the first time there's lots of agents that have been doing this all along. Not many, because they're too worried about getting buyer's agreements signed with buyers, but now you're required to. It's a rule. And as Century 21 Homestar, we're going to have these out there, and we use the state of Ohio approved buyer agreement, and we're going to help you with verbiage in there to help our buyers feel comfortable how you're going to get compensated from them or the seller or a combination, and how we're going to help train all agents out there on what to say and things to do and how to explain to them what the value it is for them. So hope that makes some sense. I had to get the word out because I'm still talking to agents. After all the videos I've done, after all the conversations, I guess it's kind of like this. I talk to someone, they're so excited, and then a week later I get another call. Oh my God, I talked to another agent, or I heard this in the news, or it's social media this, and it ruins everything I just told them a week ago. Just ruins it. I'm like, why? I just had this conversation, how good this is. How did you get back to, oh my God, what am I gonna do? The doom and gloom stuff. So we get to take more control of our business now. That's the way I look at it, and I am really excited for it. I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not trying to be that guy, because some agents say, oh, you're just trying to be, because you're a broker and you're an owner and you just want to keep your agents seeing a positive side. No, I don't see the only negative side I see to this is it's a change, and people hate change. And that's really it. Because the last thing I'll leave you with, as agents, without talking amounts, whatever we agreed to as the National Association of Realtors to make this, to satisfy this lawsuits that are going on, we did not agree to lowering commissions at any time. You're still an independent contractor. This is not. So I have agency, the 6% commission is gone. Sorry to say that. I'm just creating a headline. And I say to agents, yeah, it's gone, 6% off. Some sellers are going to pay more. Some are going to less. Some are going to pay the same. Some will pay none. Some will sell by owner. It's always been that way, but now it's all transparent. Sellers get a choice. Buyers get a choice. We're just making it more transparent. But the traditional way of sellers paying, just saying that headline, that 6% commission, the traditional way of selling it to people for your services of buyers, agents, sellers, is gone. Now we're unbundling it, bring it back together, and they will end up, kind of like, again, to airlines. Remember that airline, every time you bought a ticket, it was included that you got a carry-on and a checked bag, and you get this and that. And then someday say, let's unbundle this. Oh my God, we're gonna lower ticket prices a little bit and unbundle it and let them choose more, but we're gonna give them choices. So if they choose everything, it's actually going to be more than what we traditionally paid, for a plane ticket. And then someone did it once, some airline, and goes, oh my God, we are actually making more money and making people happy. Some people want to put everything in a carry-on. Some people want to walk right on with just a purse or a personal bag. Some people want more, but we're going to set it up where if they choose all of it, it's more, a little bit more than what a traditional ticket was. You think that they unbundled it to make less money? No, they unbundle it to make more money, right? When you buy a plane ticket, you know this. So that's how real estate, we're unbundling it. And in a lot of cases, for a lot of sellers, buyers, because they want our services and our expertise and our guidance for whatever you decide, we'll end up might paying more, some paying less. It's all transparent now, which is a good thing. Okay, now I'm done. So remember, reach out to me, call, text, email me anytime. Let me know what's happening out there. Let me know if you need some guidance, some talking points, some scripts and things to say. And number one thing you should take from this right now that I haven't said, that start working on a buyer's presentation. Start working on a buyer's presentation, just like a listing presentation, because you can't just go into a buyer. You can, most agents will, and explain all the things you're doing, but you should have a buyer presentation. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, this is why you're signing this agreement with me. And these are all the things I'm going to do for you, which I guarantee is going to be more than what most listing agents say to their listings that they're going to do. So you should get compensated for all of those things you're going to do. Most agents don't have a buyer presentation. They just verbally say it, what they're going to do. Work on one. So you have it like a listing presentation, explain that this is why you're signing this. This is why you're agreeing to it. All right, now I'm done. That's it. Have a wonderful day, a great May 1st, and watch for more videos on what's going to be happening in the next few months. Bye-bye.